coming off the market, and or Airbnb, a number of those in our communities. I know some of the, like Palm Springs, for example, did some ordinances on limiting the number of Airbnbs. Is there any, again, like you said, it's supply and demand, right? And I would offer up, when you have investors coming in or Airbnb, again, it's taking off, taking things off the market that might be available otherwise, right? Is there any discussion at the state level on those?
Yeah, I actually looked into that a couple years ago because, I was concerned that, we have these big, private equity or other deep pockets buying up properties, for investment purposes and not to live in. And, obviously that creates an unlevel playing field for regular folks. Like you and me, and so I was going to introduce legislation in that area, maybe to try to disincentivize these corporations and private equity firms from buying up homes. But I was told by the UC Berkeley Turner Center on Housing Policy, which is considered one of the leading housing policy advisors in this state, and they actually told me that notwithstanding the appearance or the concern, the data actually shows that they only own a small percentage of the local housing supply. So that was a couple of years ago. I think could you remind me to look into that to see if the data has changed. And I think I also need to look at whether there might be more of a regional difference, like in the coastal areas where they can see more of an opportunity for investments.
Yeah,
I mean, do you see that in Lomita?
Yeah, we saw some data at the COG, right? And especially on Airbnb, right? So the number of Airbnbs that we had, from the COG perspective, and it was surprising to me to see just the counts, right?
Oh, really? Okay. And so that was specifically short-term rentals. Okay. And so it was surprisingly high to you.
Yeah, it was. Again, looking at it from a regional perspective, it seemed to be awfully high, right?
Okay.
So anyway, I'm sure we can get you the data. Again, it's just another, any opportunity space is always good, right?
Yeah. Do you see a lot of Airbnbs specifically in the movie?
Again, it's I guess if you go look and I'm gonna go rent one, maybe you'll see it, but there's not necessarily. I'd say they're under the radar.
Yes.
Okay.
But it was a lot more. The number was a lot more than I would have expected.
Okay.
For such a small community.
Okay.
And then you move further west, and it's only worse.
So those are numbers that Jackie Bacharach provided. Okay.
Talk to Aaron.
Okay.
In fact, I recently found out that I'm on a two-story building, and because of my disability, it's getting harder for me to get up the stairs. And a unit opened on the next property, which is a four-level cottage, and I called to rent, found out what the rent is, blah, 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 blah. Found out it's going to be an Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
All
And
right.
it's in a cul-de-sac, and it's a two-bedroom.
Okay.
And they're doing a lot of work on that, so it's like, if this is kicking in, how many more are on our street? Because beyond that, the parking is limited, and there's a lot of changes in the residents. The residents that are coming through, it changes, the overturn is a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
So, like, was mentioned, they're all under the radar.
The neighborhood effects are really bad too.
So,
Governor-
has the city heard problems about Airbnbs?
Some. We don't want to step on code enforcement because these are active cases. But we do have some active cases with code enforcement where units are being rented out as Airbnbs that are not even legal. In other words, a garage, things that aren't safe.
Yeah,
So
that's not good.
luckily Airbnb has also clamped down on some of these. But if
Okay.
you read some of the reviews,
That's good.
you will find people say, "My God, don't stay at this place. This is dangerous, or it's a mess, or you can tell that that this was done without permits." As Karen mentioned, the impact on our affordability goes on our rental housing, I think, is every bit as bad, if not worse, than the impact on for sale housing.
Yep.
Because it takes homes off the market.
It's supply and demand,
Yeah.
so we have to share.
And the other thing I noticed is, it took 2 years for us to clean up our street. The river has come in again.
Those are my relatives you're talking about, Karen.
She's talking about cleaning up streets in Lomita.
And they are not helping.
And why did it, why was it messier? Is that related?
When I first moved in, there's a lot of drug activity and non-legal activity going on. And there was a lot of issues.
Okay.
And it took us 2 years to clean up the street. And then recently, it started up again.
So how can the city help in that kind of a situation?
It's like, if we can get more law enforcement patrolling the area, especially at night, we see double parked cars and there's transactions going on and things like that. And it's like, not a good thing.
This is in Lomita.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really on the.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah, we're like a block or two from the sheriff's station.
Right. It's kind of crazy.
And it's a
On-
cul-de-sac,
on the north side of the city.
south side.
South side, okay.
So Al, how can we, rather than keep reacting to Senator Wiener's things, which I think he's very well intentioned, I don't doubt that at all. So rather than reacting to his proposals or other people's proposals, how can we get everybody together and come up with some real solutions rather than somebody's vision of what they think the answer is, and then let's impose that.
Yeah.
And okay, well that didn't work. Now let's try something different. That comes from another group. Let's impose that.
Yeah.
While at the same time, let's face it, we have some cities who say affordable housing. Well, we have maid's quarters. There was a city locally that said that. How do we get all of us working together on coming up with something real?
Sure. So I know that a couple years ago, I started working with a statewide organization that former Redondo Beach Mayor Bill Brand initiated, and they've changed names several times. So I'm not sure what their current name is, but they basically, I don't know if you're already part of it, but there is a statewide network of mayors and city council members in particular that are fighting for local control. I know that I worked with Bill to propose a constitutional amendment to try to declare land use as exclusively a municipal affair rather than a statewide affair. But I couldn't even get a hearing on that initiative, which goes to show that we are fighting against the governor and the majority of the legislature that is more focused on pushing for more housing at all costs. We had a lively, I just had a Gardena town hall 2 weeks ago, and I don't know, is anyone here from El Camino Village? No? Okay. Yeah, so there's the unincorporated El Camino Village near El Camino College, and there's a major housing development that's proposed there. I think it's over 1,300% over
Density bonus.
The density bonus?
It's two projects, around 532 units.
Yeah, yeah. And so the, you know, the local residents are up in arms because it's like, what is it, double the height limit?
8 stories.
Yeah, 8 stories, completely out of character with the, you know, mostly single-family homes in that neighborhood.
Is El Camino even in your district? I mean, is
El
it?
Camino
Is,
Village is-
okay, so it was good for them to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, which is why they showed up
Okay.
at the closest town hall in Gardena. But that's a good example where, you know, city, even though the legislature passed bills to override local control, basically to push for these high-density housing projects, you know, cities and counties, you know, still should be able to enforce basic planning measures, you know, to try to balance between building more housing while at the same
Yep.
time trying to harmonize that with the existing neighborhood. In that case, that the county, because it's unincorporated, it's under the county planning department, and the county doesn't seem to be doing anything in terms of trying to harmonize it with the, you know, to address the concerns of longtime residents in El Camino Village, I guess.
There might be a land issue. The Governor Newsom has, I mean, Justin Trudeau in Canada, he has stopped foreign purchase of land, that you have to be a Canadian, you have to be a legal resident. For example, in other states, they've forbidden like purchase like Chinese Communist Party or things like that. But I think a more broad policy of not allowing foreigners or foreign investment firms to buy land, that I think might be a more viable legislative solution. Governor Newsom has intimated he would support something like that. I mean, it's not perfect, because what the mayor has talked about, you know, stopping private equity from buying all this
Yeah.
land. But I think that might be a step, not allowing like foreign investment to purchase all this land or purchase the homes.
Well,
Has someone introduced that bill, or have you thought about introducing a bill like that?
I'm not aware of the governor expressing any support for any measure that would, you know, basically try to ban any foreign investments. Although, yeah, I mean, you know, I want to make sure that we're not, you know, trying to, what's the word, like flame any anti-foreign, you know, fears, but at the same time, you know, my main goal is to level the playing field for local folks to be able to buy homes that they're actually going to be able to live in, and so I think there might be a balancing act there.